But I want to welcome everybody to my channel, The Candy Shop. I am so excited. The Candy Shop. So this is my story time, The Candy Shop. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Candy Shop. I am Candace. My nerves getting to me already.
I'm so debonair.
Yes. And this is the Candy Shop After Dark, actually. We will be having one more person join us in a little bit, but we are here. We are ready to weigh in on the thing that's been keeping these YouTube streets hot, which is the Larry Reid allegations and Tasha Case saga. I don't even know what I want to call it, but my perspective on it, and I'm not going to give my opinion, but my perspective on it, I want to be very diplomatic, and I want to say just a few things. So my disclaimer is the thoughts and opinions addressed by everybody on the panel are their opinions and not a reflection of this channel. Secondly, any comments that you say in the comment section are welcome. Just know though that it's not going to run the narrative of the channel. So I want to make that very clear. Let me say hello to everybody and welcome to the channel. But yeah, I pinned my little comment. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell and hit the like button as well. It's free to like. And hey, Cheryl, Liberian Cayenne Pepper. So starting off, and hey, Andrea Nelson. I see your comment on my phone, but not on my
It's a little delay when it comes to those messages.
I was gonna say, what's going on? Okay, hey Andrea, good to see you, and good to see you, Cheryl. So when I think about this situation, to me, it does take me back to church hurt. So I'm gonna be speaking on it, and me and the other panelists will be speaking more on the tone coming from church hurt, not necessarily like who's this person's lying, but it's gonna be more church hurt. Hey, Miss Platinum, good to see you. So I do want to start off with So Debonair, since you're the only guest here so far.
What are we starting off with? What are we starting with?
Just your overall thoughts of the situation.
I think this situation is very unfortunate, and I really don't want to dive into it. I don't know how long it's going to take for the other person to come, but I didn't really want to get into it because I think that I think it's like the perfect panel for this conversation, to be honest. I think there's all different sides of this. And so, okay, 10 minutes. And so I really thought this was a good panel to have this conversation because this is difficult, to be honest. I don't know either person. I just know my experience when it comes from church. And what's happening here is just very unfortunate.
Right. I agree. It's very unfortunate from all angles, and I definitely hope it plays on in the court. What I do want to start off with, though, is the interview that occurred yesterday between Armand Storm Monroe and Larry Reid. So that was a very interesting interview. Conscious TV, who's been a person very loyal to Larry Reid, disagreed with him going up and doing that interview. So my thoughts on that, to me, the Larry that we saw in that interview is the Larry that we've always seen. That's the person that I've watched since 2017, 2018. Nothing was shocking to me because he's always been that way. What was interesting, though, was the fact that Armand, I felt like Armand interviewed him more. I didn't realize him and Armand were so close as friends.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. I don't know the dynamics of their relationships, but I know a lot of what was said, it just seemed like nothing was really answered, and they talked a lot about his sexuality. So what are your thoughts on that overall conversation before we really get into it?
I thought that was the purpose of the live, was to clear up his sexuality. I think it was to clear up Storm's too, by the way. I thought it was a clear up for us to hear out of Larry's mouth that he wasn't. And when they talked about the pansexual thing, I thought, you know what, that probably would be right for Larry. For the things that I have heard, Larry say, and people talk about Larry, that probably sounds about right.
Interesting. I thought that I didn't. I don't know what the purpose of that interview was, to be honest.
It was to clear Larry's sexuality
It was
and
just all over the place.
storms.
And yes, in my opinion, I'm gonna just say it. In my opinion, it was
Mm.
somewhat damning to whatever these allegations are. Like
Okay.
it didn't put him in a good light.
Now,
Um,
why do you say that?
because of some of the things that he said in the interview. I know he wants to help people. And hey, Miss Reid, good to see you. I'm gonna put your
Hey,
comment.
Miss Reid.
I see it on my phone, but not in StreamYard yet.
Yeah, streaming was delayed from the actual chat on YouTube because it's like the third party. So
Oh, okay. But one example of what he said was how these boys lived in his home. He would help, well, disadvantaged people.
mhm.
And he would go to, let's say, a strip club and get them out the strip club. He would go to crack houses and get them out the crack houses, sometimes return to the crack house to kind of feed their habit, to help them, to wean them off. All
Yeah.
of it was very interesting to me.
But that's actually real though. A lot of pastors do that. A lot of pastors do that.
I think that is doing too much. And I know a lot of people help the community and they set up things, but some of what he was doing, for me, in my opinion,
Mhm.
it was too much. Another thing. Oh, hey, Chris Maxwell, good to see you.
Hey, Chris.
Um,
And I'll just tell you this: like, I know when me and my ex were together, we had some members were like literally, we had two boys that lived with us. Um, we also used to
also princess.
my hey princess. Um, one time I remember one time like it was like maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and again we had an affirming church.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what affirming church is, it's where they accept everybody. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is, what you've done. You're able to come here and get the word without judgment. But we had this lesbian couple. They called us one night, and she was literally about to like unalive her girlfriend. And my
Oh
ex
my
had to go
God.
over there and take the gun from her and pray with her for like hours. Like I mean, it was a lot.
Oh
So
my.
a lot. I don't think that a lot of people understand what pastors do and what that looks like from the leadership perspective. But being in that space, and I think I've been on both sides. I've been a
Mhm.
member and I've been on in the leadership role. So that's why I definitely want to come and talk with you about this because I feel like maybe I can give some insight on what this looks like and like maybe even give some credit to what he's saying, but also give my personal opinion on how I feel about what's going on with the situation.
So yeah, so I'll put some personal uh experiences of myself into I can't even talk into this. And shout out to my cousin Kenny. Me and Kenny come from a very religious family. We have a lot of pastors, bishops, all of that. My grandfather is a pastor of a church.
Mm,
And so growing up, we did help the community.
mm,
Did we set up homes for people? No. I think
mm,
I told you earlier, my grandfather would give somebody a job just by having them paint the church, something
mm,
in that matter. But I guess up north, things, growing up in the city in urban areas, you can't be as trusting. I'll say that. And so people try to hustle you, they try to scam you. My grandfather has 7 kids, and so he was not sacrificing the safety of his children to bring people into his home and things of that nature, but that was his choice. I
mm.
do know that pastors do that, but not every pastor. And I told
Right.
you earlier, I just feel like what Larry was doing, it was for me a bit too much.
Yeah.
Now, not to say that Larry is like this other pastor that I know, but there was a pastor. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so there was a pastor within the Church of God in Christ that was helping young boys, similar to Larry Reid. It came out in the 90s that he was messing with these young boys.
Mm,
This was his way of basically reeling them in. He would help them. They were disadvantaged boys in
mm,
his eyes, I guess. And it ended up coming out. Not only was he messing with boys, he was messing with girls too, so
mm,
young children. And so, oftentimes, people will use organizations like churches to do this very thing. That's
mm.
why I guess with Larry, it's not fair how people use situations like that to kind of crucify him. But the thing is, though, it happens a
A
lot,
lot.
and
Yeah.
that's why it's hard to kind of be unbiased when it happens over and over again, and it's like nothing is changing within the church.
I think that you also have to look at the other side of that as well, y'all. And I wanted to give the disclaimer before we even start having this conversation. I'm not taking up for Larry Reid. I'm just talking about my experience, my personal experiences in the church, as a leader in the church. You also look at the boys who are preying on the pastor,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a real thing. And I think that people should understand that, so that it's not a one-sided view of what's happening here. Because
Yes.
listening to everything I heard today, I'm still a little confused. Because I don't know who did what and how things worked or whatever. I do know that there were some things that the boy lied about.
Mm-hmm.
And so it brings me to the point of, is this true? I mean, the boys already, reported him, and they dropped the case. So I'm wondering what happened, when that was reported, why they dropped that case.
So from what the case was dismissed, I guess, by Larry and his people.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave the reason, I think, in the interview yesterday with Armand and Storm. Basically, he dropped it because now it is confusing too with what the actual facts are. Mm-hmm. They were claiming, here go.
Wait, so Larry sued him?
So the boy went to the police, and allegedly on his initial police report, he never named Larry. Later on, because I guess the original police report was from like 2015. It was like some years ago. And later on, Daryl Moore comes out with all of this, with the allegations. This is 2019. So from there, Larry Reid, this is what's confusing. Larry Reid files court papers on Daryl Moore and Lamontre. That's his name?
Levantre.
And so Levantre, I guess, responded to it. Whatever it was, Larry's lawyers told him to dismiss it so he could actually, I guess, gather more facts and come back. It was something, the way he explained it, I was just confused. And I'm not no lawyer. I don't know law like that. But Larry dismissed it. But it was a reason why the lawyers advised him to dismiss it, because he's going to refile, basically.
Yeah, because I know he talked about that on that live with them.
Yes.
So, but I thought the boy had filed charges against Larry.
He just filed a police report. Larry filed.
But then Larry dropped it. Got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the jurisdiction, as someone said, the location.
Yes, because of the jurisdiction. Yes, because the boy is in Georgia. I was confused.
He's in Georgia versus in, I think, North Carolina.
Yes. Okay. And so that's where it gets touchy. And hey, Lamar. Hey. So I want to say this point too. So it's the reason why this is so hard to talk about and so complex is because you have Tasha K being inserted into this situation, or inserting herself into the situation, which is the way the credibility of everything on you're presented with a between two content creators versus the allegations of what he actually did. So I want to dive into that a little later. Lamar, I'm gonna let you speak your piece because me and Deb have both been running our mouths. Have you been watching what we said?
Yeah, I missed the last couple of minutes when I was getting myself together for this show, because I'm trying to be looking incognito. It's a very touchy situation.
Yes. And so, Miss Rhea is correct. Larry needs to file in the right state. That was why he dismissed it, because I think the original case was in North Carolina.
Right. I heard Deb earlier talk about how he feels like this is a good panel for this because of our experiences. I agree. It hits home for me because it seems like the relationship that this boy had with Larry was one very similar to one that I had with two different bishops on two different occasions, meaning not the acts or any of that, but as far as the relationship. I was the assistant, quote unquote, armor bearer, quote unquote, everything 24/7 for two different bishops on two different occasions, one with a big church, one with a small church. And the stuff that you see and experience is interesting. So when this boy is recalling this story, it doesn't sound foreign to me. He was very detailed. And I've seen it happen a lot of times on different occasions, working for different bishops and different pastors. And so when people are acting as though it's far-fetched, I disagree, because it's very normal. I mean, not normal, but it's very common in that world. And is the way he was explaining stuff, and the power and the manipulation that he explained, that he alleged that Larry did. I've seen that. So I honestly am leaning towards, I believe the guy. Do I believe that he recalls every single aspect of it 100%? No. There's going to be some inconsistencies because there's trauma involved, in my opinion. And my trauma from 5 years old that didn't involve church, the way he talked about how he remembers sounds and smells and stuff like that, that's how I remember stuff. I've gone to my mom and said, hey, you remember ABCD? And she said, boy, you were 5 years old. How do you remember that? It's because of the trauma. I remember it like I can see it like it was yesterday. I see it because of the trauma. So I understand. I believe him. I'll say that I believe him overall.
That's interesting because it didn't happen to me in church, but when it did happen to me, like I do remember sounds and smells. Like there's gay people's cars, I get in their car and I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the whole let's start with CTV. So Chris Maxwell said, my thing about CTV is he goes hard for Larry Reid, which he does. He's a very loyal friend. A lot of people are trying to say, oh, he's going hard for him because that's his girlfriend, and CTV is his girlfriend. Of course, Larry is CTV's mentor. I know, Deb, CTV.
Yeah.
You've grown up with him. Yeah. So
I didn't grow up with him.
I mean, are you?
But I met him with my ex through social media.
Okay.
I actually, when he first started doing YouTube, I was supposed to work with him with like building the website stuff with him. But I know him like through conversations, like we used to talk a lot. So yeah.
So I have to say about CTV, he is going very hard for Larry. He's the one person, even though I might disagree with some of the things that he's saying, he is the person that's presenting everything with the most sense.
Yeah.
And so I can respect that.
Yeah.
I can look at the situation from both sides because it's very, like my cousin said, it's very deep with everything that's going on and very complex. So what are y'all thoughts with CTV and the route that he's taking and some of the backlash that he's receiving from people?
If you don't mind me going on, Deb.
Yeah.
I actually like CTV and I really enjoy his channel. I categorically disagree with his stance on it, but I do believe, while he would probably deny that he's biased, I think of course he's biased. I'm biased based on my personal experience. I think most will be biased based on their experience and what they've seen and what they feel. So I do think he's biased because of his relationship with Larry. He's hoping, when you're close to somebody and you have a relationship with them, you hope for the best. So you're looking for it to be for him to be innocent. Of course, you're going to need something really big and really in your face for you to move from that when you're close to someone and you have a relationship with them and you've never seen them in that light. I think it's odd though. I feel like the guys close to him though, that are close to Larry or Shamarko and what's the other dude? Whatever the other dude, Ken, whatever his name is. I forgot what it is.
Yeah.
I think if they had to be honest, they could recount some possible things that they've seen, because you can't be that close to someone, because I've been those guys close to somebody, so they know where all the bodies are buried. So it's very interesting that if this thing goes to court and it comes out, I think it's going to be interesting to see what they say in that regard, because they know the truth too, in my opinion. But they are holding to innocence, which is great. That's their employer. It's their relationship with them. But I want this to play out.
Yes. Hey, California cutie. Good to see you.
California.
Miss Reid said, I like CTV, but I feel like this hits too close to home and he should have kept it off his channel.
I don't think he would ever do that.
No, never.
One thing I will say about him, he's a very loyal friend. Like, he really is. And I respect that. But I also realized that even when Larry did the interview with Armand and Storm, he was like,
I respect that about him.
He shouldn't have did that. Like,
Yeah.
so you know that there's some conscience there, conscience TV, but there's some conscience there. You know what I'm saying? Where he's just like, that wasn't a good look.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other thoughts on him, Sodevan? Or you said your thoughts already?
To me, conscience is a really good friend. Not even saying to me, but like I want a friend like that who's going to fight. Like I'm fighting for myself. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that, from what I've seen today, I could see why Conscience would be fighting a battle for Larry as his friend.
Yeah.
Only thing I don't necessarily care for about the way Conscience is going, I don't like the bashing of the victim. I don't like that. Yeah. You don't know definitively 100% that he's lying or being honest. So to bash him is not necessary in my opinion. So that's because what if who doesn't say they're innocent, right? Who doesn't have people come to bat for them when they're Eddie Long, his son, and everybody, most people at his church, they all came to bat. He would never do this. He would never. Not our pastor. Ain't no way. He even went to his grave saying that this thing I'm gonna fight. This I didn't do, right? And if you are in his church and he's helped you out, he's been a cornerstone for you, he's giving you word, of course you're gonna believe that. You want to believe that, and you think you're going to God thing, you think you're doing the right thing, and come find out he did do it. Right.
I think when it comes to conscience, though, I think that he, like, his battle with this is that there have been things that the boy didn't tell the truth about, and so I guess that's, for me, I feel like that's where he comes from when he's having the lies that he has and the conversation that he's having.
Mm-hmm. So things that the boy wasn't consistent about. But the thing is, though, which the boy decided to bring it to YouTube, which now it's open for public opinion. Mm-hmm. So he's going to have to deal with that backlash. But I kind of agree with Lamar. I don't think that we should scrutinize the boy like that, because a lot of times it does make it hard for other victims to come forward. Luckily, with this situation, there are 3 other, or is it 2 or 3 other people?
I think it's 4 total.
3 other people that are alleging these things have happened to them as well. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the Tasha K part of it. Okay. So that, to me, in my opinion, him going to Tasha K and Bishop Whitehead, as well as what I've heard, is not a good look. But for me, does that take away my thoughts on him being a victim? Does he need to prove himself to me? No. Larry, to me, needs to prove that he did not do this, because the allegations are against him. Mm-hmm. So I hate that they went to Tasha K. Another thing that I do hate is the fact that regardless of what Tasha has done, she's a liar and this, that, and the other, it seems like people are crucifying this victim because of Tasha
K. Yeah.
So it's a lot. But what are y'all thoughts on that?
I think that's the biggest problem out of all of this. It's like you could have went to a lot of places like the news, your lawyer, you filed charges or whatever, but you went to Tasha K. So it discredits a lot of what he says to people in people's eyes. Is that saying that he's not telling the truth? No. But you're going to a person who's a known liar, and it doesn't look good, and then on top of that, like, there's been proven that you have told lies. So it just is bringing it to a place for me as a victim who has, who've been through this. I would never go to YouTube. I wouldn't come to the candy shop and be like, let me tell you what happened. I would never do that. Yeah. I'm going to the courthouse. I'm going to a lawyer. I'm going to find out what I can do legally, not on YouTube.
And I agree with you on that. And I've been a victim as well. Just it wasn't from those particular pastors, but I've been in this situation where I've had advances and stuff from men of God down, manipulation and all that stuff, or men in power, if you will, employers even that were very similar in how they roll and mannerism and how they talk and the narcissism and all that of Larry. Like Larry's personality and who Larry is, I've worked for that guy. I've been under that guy in ministry. So who he is, I know that person, right?
You work for Larry?
No, I'm talking about no. I'm talking
Okay.
about who he. I'm talking about who he.
Oh, you gotta tell me. You want to tell the story? No, just
Who he presents as a person, who he is as a person, and who I see him to be as a person, and as a pastor, and all that. I've worked for him, that type of person, and I've been in ministry under that type of person. So a lot of the stuff he says always it does something to me when I hear him say things, even when he's seeking money on his shows and stuff. The way he does it is the exact same way those people did. Like the way he justifies his sexuality, which he doesn't have to justify sexuality, is the same way that these people that I work for justify their sexuality. But I think going back to Levante, I don't think you have to be squeaky clean to be a victim and to be heard. And I don't, and so this guy could be a whore on the street. He could be a womanizer. He could be all that, but that wouldn't take away the fact that he was victimized by this particular person. And I do think that where he went wrong is going to Natasha. But even though one of the dudes said, I think it was Armand may have said that you big time now, Larry. He could have gone to any news thing. But let's be honest. Larry's big time in this world, in the church world. Mainstream media don't know Larry like that. He on BET Plus. They don't know him. They don't care. They don't care, and they don't know
the Main Street church media know him. Though.
They do, right? They do. But would they even take it? Do they want to get involved in that? Because he knows so much about so many people. Some people won't even touch it. You know what I'm saying? So
I think there's a way he could have where it would have been a pillar in the situation where he could have done that in mainstream. I do think that.
I want to go back to that interview from yesterday because Deb, earlier you asked me what were some things that were kind of like cringy. Another thing that was cringy was in the beginning of the interview, Larry said he respects married women and he was very respectful with Tasha K. Then literally 15 minutes after that statement, he says Tasha K has some nice breasts.
Yes.
And it's like, if you so respectful, like a lot of what he was saying was real inconsistent.
Yes.
And it was very inappropriate. And the fact that he was cringy, and I'm sorry, Storm Road was cringy too.
He was
looking at her breast while she was breastfeeding her child is a mess. But that's a whole nother thing in itself.
But then he said that she was saying that, like, if you want to go to Africa or something like that, like this is what it looked like. Was that what he was saying?
Yeah, he said that too. Mm-hmm. He said that she said that in one particular instance.
Yeah, like she was just pulling them out, and so it was just weird. The whole thing was weird.
That basically people shouldn't be taken aback that she's pulling her breast out to feed her babies. Basically, what they're saying it's a titty, and he's saying that she's saying what's the big deal. However, he shared that he's lusting over.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't.
My personal opinion, I think that Storm.
Okay, my bad.
This is not the views of Lamar or the Candy Shop. My personal, he just tries too hard to be straight for me.
You straight?
Lamar, I mean not Lamar. Storm. Because I'm like, why do we need to know this? This wasn't really a thing. Like, it didn't make sense to me.
He really calls himself playing on that whole people not knowing what he is and what he is. I don't give a crap. I mean, I know. I mean, I think when you know, you know.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. You like what you like. You don't have to say it.
I didn't even know he had an OnlyFans page.
Even Larry got an OnlyFans page.
I didn't know Larry had one.
He said he shut it down last week. I mean, past
it was at 10:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January the 21st that I found that Larry Reid had him on. I never knew that.
Yeah, I didn't know he had an OnlyFans. What was he showing on there?
He was just talking about he did a couple of, from what I didn't subscribe to, but I've heard somebody talking about it. I heard they did a couple of what you call them when you try to show yourself, thirst traps. But for the most part, you're just talking about what they did at his church, but every single conversation that he talked about at his church turned back to sex, and turned back to how their conversations at the church turned into how to masturbate and how to I think it said something about masturbating, how to protect yourself, it was more teaching about sex. But then and I've gone to a church like that where they were very serious about stuff. They were honest about, they didn't sway away from talking about sex. So that ain't foreign to me. That's normal to me. So that's what he was talking about. Stuff that he probably couldn't say out here without getting scrutinized for, but stuff that wouldn't really necessarily bother me.
I think that people will be shocked at how sexual church really is.
Yeah, right.
It's almost like a lust place, to be honest.
Definitely.
People come into the churches because I heard them talking about Oh, the guy talking about how Larry wanted to control like who dated who and things like that. Like that's a lot of churches, especially Pentecostal churches. They definitely do that. It's not just the church that Larry Reid had.
Yeah.
There's a lot of churches in the Pentecostal church to do that.
Absolutely.
So what is Larry Reid apostolic or what is he? Kojic? What type of church did Larry Reid have?
I have no idea.
I know he mentioned that he does African spiritualism now, since he studied, and he is Dr. Larry Reid now. But one thing that I want to do, I want to go back to this initial victim that has come out. A lot of people the part that they're talking about the most is the age inconsistency. The age of consent in North Carolina is 16. The boy is alleging that the boy is alleging, and I think people are unclear. From what I saw, the Larry Reid groomed this boy from age 14 or 15. The actual act didn't happen until he was 16 or 17. I just feel like with that, I don't know why people are making it seem like just because the age of consent is 16 or 17, whatever it is, that it's still okay for him to have messed with this boy. Larry, I was just gonna say this. Larry himself has denied messing with him, and he's saying that the boy was obsessed with him.
I heard Larry say that he didn't know this boy till he was 17. However, he was in the church and that he knew Shamarko or whatever. I have a hard time believing that you was in this church with this boy and you didn't know him. And I have a hard time believing that he was in this church and he knew and was close to somebody you close to and you didn't know him. So he went. I think he almost had me. I won't say he almost had me. I believed him a little bit with I didn't know him until he was 17 and I moved him into my house and all this. But then when you start saying you absolutely didn't know who this boy was, I'm just like that. You know, I don't know. I didn't see him. I don't see people. I didn't see him. I don't believe that. You absolutely knew him. So don't do that. Just be honest and say you did know him. But just say if you gonna stick with you didn't have this boy come in your room and make him twirl around ass naked and go to town on yourself under the covers. If that's what you're gonna stick with it, but don't lie and say you didn't know somebody in this church. Was this a mega church? Was this TD Jakes church where there's 30,000 members?
See, that's what I wanted to know. Like, what was the size of the church? Because if it was a big church, I would believe Larry, because that's how church works.
Right.
Literally, you don't get to the pastor until you get to like many of people. It never works that way. Even if you work in the church, you don't get to the pastor until like a certain amount of time once you're consistent at the church. So I believe Larry Reid. But then I thought, well, how big was the church?
I was going to say this. I'm sorry. I just want to say this about Andrea's question. So initially, it seemed like Larry said he did something with this boy when the boy was 17. Now he's denying completely doing anything. Yeah. But the part that doesn't make sense is the fact because he talked about how he had to cut him off. So if you didn't have any relations with him, what are you cutting him off from?
Well, he was living in his houses.
Living in his house. Kicked him out at some point. This is so very familiar. I know somebody that does this, right? This is so. My thing is, even if it's not a mega church, but if you are a church where you're saying you're getting your hands dirty to the point, yes, yes, man, I'm being incognito.
He said at the beginning of it.
This is very touchy. I am lamb levity today. Okay, you saying that you so involved in your church that you going out and grabbing folks out the strip clubs and you going and grabbing the homeless off the streets, but you telling me you don't know the people in your church that are close to the people that you close to? That's a lie.
But that's a possibility. I'm just being honest. It really is, because even with me and my ex, like we did that a lot. Like we used to go to the clubs, everything. And I think even Leandria Johnson used to go out to the clubs and pass out cigarettes. So like people who smoke cigarettes to bring them to our church. So that's not for me. I believe that. And then he was also he was like never there at a certain point in time because he was traveling and things like that. So for me, just listening to what Larry is saying and knowing what it looked like to be like a leader in ministry, that could be possible.
And I've seen, and what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying to an extent. I've seen preachers be so disconnected to where there's so many layers, but they're also, if they're that disjointed from the rest of the flock, they're not actually the ones actually going out. They got outreach. They got assistant pastors and ministers going out on the streets. They're not actually going out on those streets witnessing to hoes.
That's not true, because Leandra Johnson did it. Johnson did it. Leandra Johnson was out there with them folks at the strip clubs, at the regular club. She was out there passing out cigarettes and ministering to the people. She wasn't out of touch. Now, she might have met the people and then did not know who was there once they joined, but I know she was there in that moment.
Did she say she didn't know people in her sanctuary?
Well, I think they ever asked her that. So, I don't know.
And to me, what Larry is very inconsistent. And hey, Woo Child, good to see you. She said that's what Lisa said, Deb, that in the end, his ministry is what came between him because he was so involved with all these other people.
I believe that.
So
I think there's so many parts in this. And before you came up, Lamar, I was saying this. You know, you also think about the fact that people all think about the pastors praying on the members, but there are members who pray on the pastor as well. And I know firsthand that I've seen this so many times with people in my family. I'll just say that, and in my own relationship, I've seen that. So when it comes to this, because they threw out the case before, I just want to know some facts and go to court. Let's figure out what's happening here. But I can't pinpoint who I feel like is wrong or right in the situation, because especially with the guys in the churches who might be gay, because even when he was telling a story about Larry saying that he's either going to be gay or a womanizer, I'm like, well, I mean, honestly, I would just be like, what's he talking about? And then I would kind of like discard it. But then I'm not going to sit and think like, well, am I gay?
But some people would.
You know what Larry admitted to asking this boy, with what the boy said?
Yeah,
Larry admitted to asking the boy, either basically telling him either you're going to be a womanizer or you're going to be gay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Do you just say that?
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, I wasn't even.
And I'm like, and the boy said it, and I'm like, first of all, I'm not going to sit here and think, am I gay? Am I a womanizer? Like, those are not my only two options in life. Like, I get that you've had a troubling, past with your family or whatever, but I'm not going to sit in my. If I know that I'm straight, I know I'm straight. Like, you're not going to. I'm not going to choose between that.
What did you think of Larry saying that?
I don't know if I feel like Larry really said that, to be honest. It doesn't make sense.
He said it.
I mean,
said it yesterday.
So I'm saying, when I heard it first, I didn't think that he said that. So when he did say that, what was happening that Larry said that for me? That's what I thought. But then when the boy was saying, when he started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, why are you sitting here like debating whether you're going to be a womanizer or a gay?
I think I've seen that before, though. I mean, I see how somebody could feel that way.
Hold on. So give me 1 second. Yes, they can. And I've seen it firsthand. I'm telling you for a fact. This is something that I know for a fact that's true.
But that they go chasing after the people in the church. But when my cousin is speaking of sheep, he's speaking of young boys, young children.
No, people think that people don't pray on the pastor. I'll just tell you my own damn story.
But I'm saying not people, but children. Children to me cannot pray.
I tell you that this is true. It's very true, because there are people that I've seen. I don't want to tell anybody's story. This is why I'm like really trying to word this right. But in my life, I've seen this personally, so I do know that this is a fact. And I'm gonna leave it there, because there are, like, even when me and my ex got together, there were guys. I mean, I'm 10 years older than these people, and they're mad at me because my ex-husband chose me, and they feel like they had been raised to be a damn first gentleman. I didn't know what the fuck that was.
Pray on them in what way, though?
Huh?
They pray on them in what way?
How are children
Sexually, I've been in the room and outside of the room at the same time, because I've been, a member, and I've been in leadership. I've witnessed these young people praying on pastors and leaderships in churches because they want them. Oh, if I could, I would, and I would do. Some of them get to that point, and it is the adult's responsibility to say no, but it's not like the mind frame is not there for them to want to do that, though.
Ma'am, you had a lot of questions.
I know. The whole children thing, because it's, to me, that's the same thing as saying young girls were fast going after R. Kelly. To me, children are children. The adult has the upper hand. I just don't understand how a child can prey on an adult when that adult, to me, an adult would be taking advantage of a weaker person. Even if, let's say, a child has a crush on an adult, whatever, it's still that adult's
But
job.
when you're saying children, what ages are we talking about?
Anybody.
We're talking about teenagers. We're talking about
I
people going
think,
through
to me,
puberty.
teenagers are still children. Like they're not fully developed. They
But they're having sex.
make
Though.
adult decisions.
But they're having sex though.
Well, not my 14-year-old. My 14-year-old.
I didn't say your kids were.
An adult.
But the kids are the teenagers are having sex.
And I think the problem is, though, whatever adult is having sex with them should be in jail, because the adult has the upper hand in that situation.
Well, that's why I said that the adult should not do it. But I'm saying when it comes down to it, there are younger people who do prey on adults. That's true.
Yeah.
And I want to respond to memes. I'm trying to make light of it. I think everybody know who I am by now. This is the look I have on my shows. I'm just being funny. But this is a touchy situation.
Yeah.
Big time. And it hits home a lot. So that's why I wanted to definitely be a part of this. But I hear what you're saying there about I think it's always going to be a case where people, particularly the women, a lot of women in church, they want the pastor, of course. If he's single, whether he married, they always have a lust for the pastor, because he's looked upon as this perfect man of God, and then they got the money and all that. So I get it, but it's definitely up to him to brush that off and not succumb. But most of them do. A lot of them do.
Yeah, and again, like y'all don't have to believe what I'm saying. I'm just giving a different perspective.
Yeah,
not y'all up here, but I'm just saying in the chat, like I'm just giving a different perspective because I have seen and witnessed a lot of things that just, for me, I mean, I've known adults where teenagers came onto them and like literally like it's hard to be like, well, your teenager came onto me, because if they say that, like, listen, you are already considered a pedophile. You know what I mean? So that situation is very different when it comes down to that, because if the adult didn't go through with it, like, how do you report that? And I've seen this before multiple times.
To respond to Chris Maxwell, do we think CTV really believes that? No, I don't.
I don't know CTV, so I don't know.
I don't. Hopeful.
Personally, yeah. I think he does.
I think he's hopeful and wants him to be, but I don't think he's 100%, of course.
I think being in the gay community, there's just certain things that and that's just honest. There's a lot of older men who love younger men, that's true. And there's a lot of younger men who love older men, and that's how they get to these relationships. There's a very successful YouTube. I mean, they were on YouTube. I think they're on like TikTok now. The man is like almost 20-something years older than his boyfriend or his husband. They have a very successful life right now. I don't know when they started dating. Yeah, they have a kid together and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's not unbelievable to see this, but it's also like the gay community is very different, with regular dating.
But this is the thing. No, Larry is not considered the gay community though. He's in his mind is a heterosexual man. He was a pastor. He was married.
Well, he said he was pansexual.
Now,
or he was looking
let's be realistic though. Now he's saying he's pansexual, but at the time when a lot of this stuff was happening, he was living as a heterosexual married man, and we all know that. And I don't want to say, I'm not saying Larry is guilty, but a lot of pastors that present as heterosexual and do all this other stuff mess with young boys, like it happens, and so
I'm not denying it. Yeah, I'm not denying it.
While he has presented verbally in the past that he was a heterosexual man, I think when you know. I've never thought he was a heterosexual man ever from the first video I ever saw him, ever. And I don't care what he said. I mean, because I've seen it I work. You when you know, you know. That's all I say.
I think you
Another,
also have to look at the fact that can he come out as
You
being a
said, can you?
pastor? Maybe in 2023 he can, but
he doesn't. I don't think he pastors anymore. He's
no, I'm
just
saying I'm saying in 2023 he can, but back then, I mean, me and my ex-husband, we didn't get married until 2014. That's when gay marriage was legal.
Walter
So,
Hawkins had the Love Center Church back from the 90s, so he could have had
but
him a
I'm
church like
but what I'm saying is that you can't really, as a pastor in that time that Larry Reid was a pastor,
that.
you weren't even allowed to. So
Right, I
I mean
agree.
that puts
Yeah,
another bullet point into the situation.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And
More,
Princess, back then, the way if you hear him talk about his past and when he got married, he was presenting as a straight
yeah,
man.
Yeah,
and
Like when I used to watch him, I would hear a story, and I sympathize with him because he's gone through abuse as well
yeah,
yeah.
and all
absolutely.
of that. But it was very cringy to watch him yesterday saying that he enjoyed giving males fellatio because he was good at it and learned how to do it as a child. It was all of it was just inappropriate, cringy, and it just did not look right. It because of the fact that they could make that a joke, his childhood trauma.
I missed that part.
That's
I
because
missed
that's,
that.
that's because a narcissist, which in my opinion, my personal opinion, most pastors are narcissists. A fine line. You want to be up and have everybody listen to you and treat you like a king. It's a very fine line between someone that really feels like they're called and this is what they want to do is a sacrifice versus someone that wants that power and authority and to be treated like a god. And I think he's a narcissist, and you can't get away from it when you're a narcissist. To the point to where even something that may be looked at as disgusting or embarrassing the most, you get a rush out of saying it to get the response. So he's willing to go so far as to say some disgusting stuff because it feeds that it feeds that whole narcissist. It's a defense mechanism that he
Yeah.
uses. So that's why he said that he's good at it because of the trauma when he is as a kid he was forced to suck on what's names
His
and
cousins.
yeah, that's why he's willing to say that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So
I just feel bad for the whole situation because I feel like there's so much happening, and us as viewers watching it, there's so many different emotions going on, and thought processes going on, and you don't know who to believe or who not to believe.
yeah.
We want to believe the victim, and I'm always down for that part. Like believe the victim until the victim is proven wrong. But going to Tasha K and then knowing that you have lied to me, it drives some wedges for me, and that's where I kind of like got confused. At first, I was like, "Yo, he did that shit," but then when I realized this, I'm just like, I don't know, and I knew no, living that life, I could see Larry Reid's point. And then when it was reported, but then it didn't go anywhere, like most of the time, like they want to say that, but then you also realize too that a lot of states don't have the law for sodomy for men.
Yeah.
So that could be another reason why they throw it out.
And I look at it, I don't even the age thing is not even a factor to me. Like literally, my
Mhm.
thing is the fact that I just can't stand when pastors use their power and their influence and they treat the ones closest to them that they bring in as their sons
Mhm.
or their armor bearers or their assistants or what have you, and then they try to use their influence by giving them things to control them. They give them the world as long as you do what I say. I remember I had someone I worked for, a pastor I worked for, right, and he was kind of he was it was like, when you know, right, married
Mhm.
forever, bishop, and the moment I got a girlfriend, it bothered him. He started pulling things back. He didn't like the fact that I had a girlfriend.
Oh wow.
I remember that
You
too.
remember that?
Me and Lamar were friends at that time.
Yep. To the point to where he gave me an ultimatum: break up or you can't work for me no more. And this is right after
Oh wow.
I came off of being a nasty divorce and homeless, sleeping
Living,
in my
living
car,
with me
living with
at
me homeless.
times.
And this guy pulled me up, helped me, gave me a couple of jobs, and but had that control of do what I say or you lose everything basically. And he did
Mhm.
not want me. While he never crossed the line, there was some suspect stuff that was said that was it was a there's a filler they put out. They put out fillers to kind of see if you're gonna bite. And I recognize those feelers, and they were put out. But all he was able to do is say, he can't. I don't want you being with that girl. And the only reason she like you because you probably got a big church, so you probably got a big. You
Oh my
There's
goodness!
like this is a
You didn't
bishop
tell
that
me that.
you got a big dick. You know that. So there's fillers they put out to try to get into that conversation.
I'll tell you, there was a guy. I went to like this program. It wasn't my church, but it was another church that I used to go to as a kid because I was trying to. My mom, they put us in programs or whatever, but we went to a church. It was like a big church in Columbus, Ohio, and we had this guy. I'm gonna call him Brother Welch's because Welch's is sitting by me. But this man never wore. His dick was like humongous, and you could literally he would sit on the tables while we were sitting in the chairs. And you can literally see it just hanging in the damn pants all the time. And when I got older, I used to see him on like the gay apps all the time. His breasts were like shit too, by the way.
Oh,
But
gross.
he used to never wear underwear. I'm like, why do we all see his penis all the time?
Nasty.
Another thing is these preachers that are sus, as Andrea is saying. When I say when you know, they know. Mm-hmm. They know if someone is battling with something or is on the fence or have tendencies or something. They know, and they pray on that. And that's, I think, what happened with Larry. And this, in my opinion, allegedly, perhaps might have happened with this guy. I think there are, while he's trying to say how straight he is in these interviews, you're not, that I don't believe 100% that Levante is 100% solid on being straight because you did go with it. You went along with it. You reacted. You continued it. And you was a teenager, even if you was 15. Then if you were just 100% against it, while you perhaps were being manipulated, I think there's still something there.
I think there's something that Larry in him is not saying. For me, personally. And even I think when Tasha was interviewing him, because she kind of cut the interview, and she said he went for I guess the thing went on for like 2 hours. And I'm like, for 2 whole hours, like you were just sitting there getting tested of whether you were gay or not. For me, it doesn't make any sense. Even after you still stayed around Larry. Right. And that was the thing. Like, I know when it happened with me, I literally was done. My abuser just cussed me out months ago because I talk about the shit on YouTube. And I didn't give a fuck. I blocked his ass on fucking social media and went on about my business because you cannot. But I just feel like there's more there. And that's why I said, people got to understand that there are children, or not children, but there are teenagers who prey on higher powers that's in their lives, whether it's celebrities or pastors or the celebrities of the church world. For those people, they want this connection because they feel like it's going to get them somewhere. Larry might have been buying them stuff. I mean, I think they said something like that, and that's not an excuse for Larry Reid, but this is also a thing. And I think that, parents need to watch their children and how they're moving when it comes to this stuff, because this does really happen.
And to stop trusting, this is what I hate so much, and I saw so much. Women, like single mothers, they entrust these men in the church to raise their sons, and without checking, they just assume that they're good men because they in the church. And my thing is, women need to understand that men are men, no matter where they are. The same man that's broke your heart and that's mistreated you is the same men that are in the church. Men are men. We have the propensity to do anything at any time, but yet they just trust these men are gonna they got them. We're gonna give you 100%. You take care of them, you raise them. I can't teach you to be a man, but you can. Then they got free will to do whatever they want to with your boy.
I don't understand why women can't teach a man to be a man. To me, and I've never understood that philosophy, because women can. I mean, even under supervision, with other men that they're with, you have to leave your son with another man that you don't know, or even if you do know him, you don't have to leave him to learn that you can teach your son to be a man.
See, I disagree with that. As a woman, I don't think I can teach my son how to be a man, because there's certain things that y'all do and say that only y'all know. I can teach him how to treat me as a woman and how to be a good person, but I can't. I don't feel like I can teach my son how to be a man.
But what do you feel like you can't teach him to do as a
man? Different experiences, especially in his teenage years, puberty, all of that. I can't. I'd rather his dad talk to him about that type of stuff and different things.
See, I'm more in the area of teaching both my kids how to be good people versus how to be a particular genre of person.
Gender.
What is being a man? And I agree with you. It's about teaching them to be a good human being. Because there's so much toxic masculinity that what does that even look like? Little Boosie thought it was getting his son or nephew or whatever it was to get fellatio from a prostitute. Do I want my son around that? No.
And that's
what I'm saying? Like every man that you put your son around is not a good man.
That's
to learn how to be a man from. And so for me, I just feel like what you want. If I ever have a kid, which I plan on doing, I want my kid to be a good human being. Period. Whatever that looks like for you, God made you. Let that be your way. But as far as who you are as an individual, just be good to people. That's it. Don't take your kid to get fellatio from a damn prostitute to make you a heterosexual. Don't get beat up and be tough and from your father or your cousins or whatever, because you got to be strong. Because there's so many men sitting in depression until this right now because they had to be a man, and that's not the right thing all the time.
Yeah. So I see what both of y'all saying. I see Candace's side too. There are things that the society considers manly things that a woman may not be able to explain, or questions that she may not be able to answer. However, some men can't even answer them because a lot of men doing it wrong. So you got to be real smart on who you get.
I'll just say this, not to cut you off, but I'm still a person, and I know there's like gender neutral things and non-binary now, but I'm still a person that does believe in a man and a woman. And so as me being a woman, there are things that I can teach my daughters that I cannot teach my son, and vice versa. So it's just, I feel like only you as a Black man know your experience navigating through the world, and your experiences are going to help your son grow up, because when children are coming up, they look at their relatable parents, and most times boys relate to their father. Yeah. Like,
okay, so I got to, because I'm reading this comment.
Yeah, I agree with.
So, what is it to be a man and a woman? I guess for me, I don't understand what that's like. I don't have any kids, so maybe that's my ignorance. I've raised my nephews to a certain extent. But what is it to raise your son to be a man? And what is it to raise your daughters to be a daughter, like a woman? For me, I think what you said, Lamar, to me would be the more better thing is to just be a good person. Whatever they decide to do outside of that, that's their own personality. There's only certain things that we can do. Because I think our parents all did things they wanted us to do, but we still became ourselves.
I think there's specifics. Like, for instance, my daughter, like, while I can teach her how to be a good person, there are things that a woman experiences, cramps and such, that I might not have the answers to. So I think it's more about specifics. My son, if he wakes up and there's some leakage or something, there's a waking up with wood, stuff like that. It's different things like that I think specifics that a man would need to talk to the son about, and a woman would need to talk to the daughter about. But how to be an overall man, everybody is subjective as to what a man is versus what a woman, in my opinion, these days.
And
I want to break this down for a second. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I want to stay with the Larry.
Hold on, I want to break this down for a second because Miss Reid said life experiences. Every woman doesn't have a great life experience, so why would I don't? And maybe it looks like that for your friend or whoever you're dating, but I think the fundamentals are the most important part when it comes down to that. When it comes down to teaching your kid how to be somebody or do anything, because in reality, none of us have been raised the right way. We're Black. We've been taught the slavery mentality. A lot of us have been, and then we're sitting here trying to teach our children to be something, and the kids are rebelling from that now.
Not all.
I'm saying, as a school teacher, they're rebelling from that right now. They don't want nothing that we have, because it doesn't fit the narrative of what they are as human beings. We're looking at male, female, and things like that. I know you said, with the community or whatever, but the reality is that they're going to be who they're going to be regardless. So why not learn your kid and find out who they are, and then let them explore that. But the fundamentals are be a good human being, and then live life the way you want to live it. I think for me,
I think the problem is some parents are letting their children explore too much though. And it just seems like because we get situations like the girls with R. Kelly and all this other stuff, like where were the parents? So I am a very hands-on parent, and I can teach them about experiences and let them have experiences, but I'm still gonna be I'm sorry, I'm gonna have my hand in a lot of what's going on because I don't want TV or what they're seeing at school to shape them. I can speak for myself. Now, my mother was a single mom. Luckily, she had girls, so it wasn't hard for her to teach us. And people was acting out when we all were in school, but we knew based off of the home we came from how to act. So I just
but think about that though. So like they say like a daughter needs a father in their lives, so they know how to be treated by a man, right? You've heard that.
Yeah, I'm laughing.
So with that, when you being brought up with a single mom, were there men in your life who taught you how to be treated, how a man treats you?
Was there a man in my life to teach me? Even though I had a single mom, I still had my grandfather, I had my uncles, I had a lot of people, and that was my whole issue with Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels was trying to give all this advice on what women need to do to get a man. I'd rather take my advice from a woman that has a man versus this man trying to tell me something, because men will say one thing and then do the other. Nothing has ever stopped a man from cheating or anything like that. So all these little things stipulations that he was trying to give were ridiculous. He had no business trying to tell women how to be with men. But going back to Larry Reid.
I'm sorry.
So I did want to talk about, because we have some time. I guess we can go long.
We're going over an hour.
We have been on for an hour.
Well, technically, we have like 13 more minutes.
And I wanted to drop the link too.
We have 13 more minutes before we hit the hour, actually. So,
no. But I want to talk about the second victim that King Jives is somewhat related to, or it's his god brother. Did y'all see that interview?
I did see that. I seen that.
Where his god brother told him years ago that Larry Reid R-worded him and not to say anything. And so King Jives is like, I never said anything. And the way that it's looking is that King Jives knows that Larry, because he said he believed his god brother, that even though he believed that Larry is a predator, he's willing to still work with him. So what do y'all think of all of that? Do y'all believe those allegations as well?
I'm gonna let Lamar go first. I gotta go pee. I'll be right back.
Right. I don't want to go. Let me get back incognito. All right. That's why this is so touchy, because I know some of these people and I hate talking about it publicly. I don't know. I will say that the guy was an adult, I believe, when Josh, he told Josh not to say nothing, and Josh respected that. And I don't see a problem with that, respecting that. No, they're asking someone not to say nothing, because it can change your entire world, yours and your families and everybody. So I get it as an adult that he said that. If he was a kid saying it, I look at it a totally different way. But as an adult saying it, that this happened to me years ago when I was a kid, I get it. As far as whether he's still willing to work with Larry after knowing that, that's up to the individual. I'm gonna say, would I be willing to? I don't know. It depends, because there's people that in my family I know right now that are nasty ass pedophile. There's people that that I know that are still in the family that nobody's blew the whistle on. Everybody just kind of knows, but they still at the reunions. They still down there. You still see them. I just don't fool with them that real close. So I don't know. That's a tough one for me.
Well, I'll give my opinion. I think it's very alarming that, I understand YouTube, and I don't want to speak negatively about these content creators, but they've been put all this stuff out there. So I want to give my opinion though. I don't think it's right for him to still want to work or support someone like that. And I understand though he wants to have this mentor and have this partnership, but it's like, I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say on it. King Jives himself is a very controversial person. I've watched this channel for a while now too. Like I watch Larry's. I love church tea. And I know people think that's a sin for me to like all the gossip with the church, but a lot of this, yeah, it's very complex. Thank you, Dan, for coming back because I was going to go off on a tangent. I wanted to get your stuff. And hey, Prosperity Thick Girl.
Hey. Sorry, I had to read. I was reading a comment. I thought about why would he keep it quiet and have the relationship with him? What was said to him? And if he said he believes him, did he really believe him? That's what I thought.
He said he did.
I know he said that, but did he really believe him though? That was my thought process. Because you work with this man after that.
He said.
Now I will say this: the thing that I thought that he did that was right was you don't expose the victim's trauma at all. Like you should never do that. But for me, it was like very contradicting. It was like, well, if you believed him, I mean, I'm not working. If you told me that I'm not working with someone who you told me you did that to you, I would never do that. So to me, it just felt like maybe he didn't really believe him.
He said he believed him, and the thing was, though,
that's what came out of his mouth.
I think he didn't want to believe him.
Okay.
But he in a sense believed what the cousin was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the type of person that King Jives is, he's had a lot of controversy around him in certain arenas. So it's not that shocking that he would still be willing to work with Larry, because he kind of comes off as a content creator that is really all about him, and it doesn't matter what craziness is going on. If you look at his story, I don't want to speak that negative on him.
Yeah, I don't watch King Jives enough to determine whether or not he is or he ain't. So they
said he allegedly sent his mother to prison.
I've seen that.
But he, of course, he explained what happened with that.
Lord, I feel like conscious now.
We can go on to the subject. We can go back to Larry Reid. I'm going to drop this link for anybody. Y'all okay with me dropping the link?
Sure.
Okay.
And I know I don't have the most popular opinion on this. I do know that. But I just want to give two sides to the situation.
And Kenny, my cousin Kenny, he hit the nail on the head. We have a lot of family secrets as well. A lot of Black families, well, a lot of families, period, have secrets. And for us, we do have a lot of trauma. I've never spoken on it on my channel at all.
Yeah.
And I don't plan on it because these people in the YouTube streets will take it and run with it and be like, whatever.
Can I say something about it? One thing I just want to say about that, the family secrets and the trauma, is that those perpetrators in those family secrets are ones we are sometimes relying on to teach our men how to be men.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want your kid to be taught how to be a man by this person?
I didn't mean to jump up into that. I just wanted to say
a lot of times I'll say this. In my family, we were very aware of who was who. And we knew not to have certain people around our children. Yeah. I'll say that. So
I'll say now, like, my family is very conscious about it, but before that, because nobody was saying anything, I think I was the first person to say anything. And so now, after I said something, then everybody started speaking out about it. I was like, well, damn. I didn't know that this was going on in the family, but people were afraid to say anything, but it was out of fear.
They don't want it changes their whole world. They don't want their whole world to be turned upside down. People will stay quiet about it for that reason. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. So what else y'all want to talk about as it relates to this case? The documents, I did email Tasha K for the documents that she had on that live. Those documents are just Larry's statement, what I was sent. It's very long to read through. I'm still reading through it. I wanted to do a live about it, but I want to look at a lot of different aspects of this case. But I'm enjoying all of the commentary from a lot of the content creators. Shout out to Mims. He's had the most unbiased show that I've seen.
I really liked his. Yeah, it was great.
Shout out to Mims.
Yes, make it make
And
sense.
shout out to Mills for just his channel growing. Like Mills is doing the damn thing.
He killing it. Killing it.
Yes. But any other thoughts?
So as a whole, like how do you guys feel about all of this? Like, are you solid on one side? Like, what do you guys feel about it?
I want to. Oh, you can go, Lamar.
Well, I think the burden of proof for me is on Larry to prove that he didn't do it, because I'm prone to automatically believe the victim. That's just how I am, based because I've seen it too many times. I've seen the mannerisms. I've seen how stuff he's saying. I've seen the way he's defending it. I've seen the stuff the boy said. I've seen, and so it's too recognizable for me. So he really got to prove that. Well, you don't have to do it for me, but for me to be swayed for my own, he got to prove that it's something else.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say this. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but somebody just inboxed me a picture of Lamar and Young Jeezy next to each other, saying that y'all look alike.
Who's Young Jeezy? That's the one that's with the girl from The Real?
Yeah. Who sent that? Mims?
No.
Oh. No surprise it wasn't Mims.
They got y'all with the hood on together, side by side.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Easy.
Oh, I see. But I'll say my thoughts. So and Chris said Larry is guilty. So initially, when all of this stuff came out, because I watched Larry Reid regularly, for one, I thought that he was a gay man, but two, I thought that he was innocent because of the simple fact that all of the stuff happening with Bishop Lamar Whitehead, because it just appeared that a lot of this stuff did not come out until he got into it with Lamar Whitehead. As I watched this interview that Tasha K did with this young man, and then heard about all these other victims, and then just listening to everything, which was very detailed, I started to kind of lean the other way. Now, this is something that I do want to see play out in court just because of the inconsistencies of what's being put out there. But based off of what I've seen in that Tasha K interview, the Armand interview yesterday, and then the way all of these people are trying to slander the victim and scrutinize the victim, I'm starting to feel like Larry Reid is very guilty.
Yeah, and another thing that makes me not believe him is because he's going to bat for John Gray. I don't want to.
Oh God,
that takes away all credibility for me. The fact that
I didn't know that.
Oh, because Tasha K, she put out that he had a little nub.
Yeah, but John Gray got a micro penis allegedly. So my thing is, that's what the lady in Florida said, that the sex worker.
I'm not surprised about that.
Me neither. The sex worker that he would call allegedly on video and want to play with himself too and finish on his belly, according to the sex worker, said he got a micro penis. And Larry then became friends with this guy and going to bat for him, defending him when none of it's alleged anymore, really, with John Gray. His wife even admitted to it to Tasha K. So that's odd to me that you would go to bat for this guy.
I never looked at John Gray and was like, damn, I don't think he had a big old, I never thought that. It never crossed my mind.
Disgusting.
And I actually brought it to the but like, it looks like it's little.
It's enough. That's what they said.
It's a micro.
I don't know what enough looks like, because
that's why
you got to fight past the belly first.
That's why his wife said that she know he ain't been screwing nobody else because he can't. He got a condition. And that's why the sex worker said he had the phone way out here like this, trying to get a shot of it, and he couldn't get a good shot of it.
We're supposed to put it closer so you can make it look bigger.
Huh?
We're supposed to put it closer to it so it looks bigger.
But his belly too big. He couldn't get down now.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Sassy Beach. A big stomach but no big. Ooh.
How do you do it when you got that big belly and you got micro penis?
The belly probably higher.
Sounds like how did they have kids?
Maybe
we're going down.
You can still have kids and have a small penis.
I know, but it's like, never mind. I don't want to.
There was a man. We gonna get him also. I met a man. His penis was probably about the size of this.
Yeah, put it in your hand.
And I'm gonna cut off the top of my damn pinky. He was about this size, and he had 2 children.
Yeah, because he had to shoot it in his hand and then insert it manually.
Okay.
You can have a little peen and have children.
Ooh.
This is after dark, so we good.
Yeah, it's after dark.
You need love. Yeah, they do.
Well, I would be so mad if I was his wife, though. I would. Like, this is what I meant.
Did nobody want to come up here and talk to us?
Oh, yeah. Let me drop the link. I dropped the link. I think they're scared to hit that link with the people we talking about.
I feel like, don't be scared to talk about it, to be honest, because I think that we've all had, well, not all of us, but some of us have had church trauma, and not maybe in this extent, but we have been involved in church, and I think we went back and forth about talking about this, me and you, at the candy shop. We did. And I think that you shouldn't be afraid to talk about it because it's your life experience, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that even with you having the series of the church hurt thing, there's a lot to dig into when it comes down to this conversation. And we all, even with me, I tell y'all, we all have had different experiences. So there's nothing wrong with talking about it. Like, don't be afraid. Right. What up, sis?
Who that is?
Hey.
No Reids.
Baby, I feel like I am in the Matrix with this background. And him sitting up there with his glasses. It feel like, Morpheus, do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill?
Don't be coming for me on this panel. I ain't never on the panel with you, and first thing you're gonna do is
what you say? This is my first. No, you haven't. This is not your first time with me. You came up. No, you've come up several times on the Call In on Deb channel and on Candy channel.
And you was on to you. Oh, yeah. I don't remember. I don't see your face.
Come on, you was the real estate insider then. That's
I'm Lamb Levity.
I've never been up here with Lamb Levity. All right,
you gotta see that. Everybody can see it.
All you need is a little snowman on you. All you need is a little snowman up there. Now I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna ever say my personal feelings. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna ever say that a victim is lying. Right? I will never say that. But I will say, as far as the lying bishop, the scamming bishop, the scamming Tasha K, the scamming Larry Reid, I have caught all of them in several lies. So for me, the only person that I'm willing to believe at this point is the victims, because all of them lie, scheme, and scam for likes, clicks, views, and clouded jewelry, according to what Larry Reid said about the Bishop Diamonds and his thrift store famous suits that he be wearing every Sunday is Easter Sunday in his church with the foolishness he be wearing. And after I saw that picture where he stole a Pope robe allegedly.
What?
Oh, you ain't see the picture floating around
here? Where
he was dressed like the Pope?
No,
from the top hat and all.
The victim line, they proved that the victim line too.
See, I'm not that deep into the story, but good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody is involved in this, be lying.
But you gotta think about it. So we are expected to believe that this grown ass man that's 27, 28, 29, 30, something like that now, that he's lying. Not only is he lying, but he's willing to tell the same lie about sexual immorality from a pastor to his wife, kids, mama, and everybody gonna lie with him.
But the thing is this though, when he told the story at first, he said he was 14, he was 15. Then he said he was in this house that was never built at the time. So it was like there was lies. So that's what I'm saying. And it was proven lies. Not like that we're speculating. These are proven lies. So they all have been lying. So between Tasha K, the victim, and Larry Reid, there's lies going on.
That's a hell of a lot to put out when you're married and with kids.
No, the property that he said that this happened in was not even built at the time.
I mean, I think those are just inconsistencies that have come with trauma. Nobody's going to remember exactly all this stuff.
I can tell you the smell, what was in the room. I can tell you who did it, what happened, what time did it happen, what I saw. I can tell you everything.
He was very detailed. He was very detailed in that sense. That as for the age and the timing, to me, it was just inconsistencies, but the story of the actions, all of that has stayed the same.
But I think that the age part makes a difference when it comes down to this. It does make a difference whether we all believe that at the legal age it was right or wrong. It still makes a difference.
I will say this: there are certain aspects when I went through what I went through. Oh, I can tell you the exact house we was in. I remember that house. I can tell you when my family took a trip because it was a cousin who did it to me. I can tell you what he did to me in the pool. I can't tell you. I don't remember whether it was a Hilton or a DoubleTree, but I remember that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't know. I think it just depends on how the person compartmentalized and what they chose. Certain things when you in certain situations will stick out in your mind more than others. Now, I mean, a house completely not being built, child, I don't know, but to me that just means it happened in a house and not an apartment.
And he also said that when traumatizing things happen to him, he can tell you to the people the shirt behind you, like he said that. So for me, I'm like, well, then he should be able to remember these things. I know for a fact when shit happened to me, listen, I gave a play-by-play, where it happened, what the room looked. I can tell you everything from what happened to me. And when he said that, I was like, oh, well, they met. We got a good thing going on.
That's just the timing, though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. A lot of victims, certain things will stick out to you, and certain things, they block out. So to me, that doesn't discredit the story.
But he said out of his own mouth that he can remember the traumatizing things that happened, like to the.
But guess what? You know how many people say they remember this, that, and the third when they're talking about their trauma, and then they come back and say, "Oh, wait, I remember this. I remember this. I remember this." Because as you begin to deal with things and process things, you start to unlock the things in your mind that you had blocked out. So for me, I just can't. I don't ever want to be that person to discredit someone saying that they were SA'd. So I think, child, send it to trial. Send it to trial. I know who courtroom it won't be in. It won't be in my courtroom because I ain't touching this with a 10-foot pole. There's too many lawsuits being flung around here. But I will say all of them is liars.
I don't want to set the
like I said, I'm speaking from my own personal experience, so I know everybody doesn't have that. But I'm just saying, like, for me, I know I can tell you the age it happened, where it happened, what was in the room. I can tell you all that stuff. But that's me, and that's why I start the conversation off with my perspective.
Maybe one of the other accusers can. So
right. And I just don't want us to set the precedence of you can only speak out and be heard and believe if you got 100% accuracy as to exactly when and where it happened. Whereas I know where it happened, but I couldn't definitively say exactly. I think I was 5, 6. That's what I think. I don't know 100%, but I know exactly where it happened. The trailer house, the tree, the bedroom. I remember the mirrors on my mama's closet. I knew I was going to a little elementary school. It was either kindergarten or pre-K, one or the other. I remember that, but I can't say specifically that I was 5 or 6 or 4 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And then there's another allegation too. This happened in 2013. I guess another man that he was dealing with, Larry allegedly cut him off or something happened. They were in a relationship, and the young man said that Larry Reid allegedly gave him that 3-letter word.
And we talked about this earlier too. My issue
but does he have that?
He's taking a test and he does not.
Well, there's two different 3-letter words that we're talking about. Because Tasha said he had one thing, right? And then the other boy said something else. First of all, the one that Tasha is saying that he has, there's no way possible. 2022, unless Larry's irresponsible to take medication, that he has that. It's not possible.
It's not possible to do what?
It's not possible what?
There's 2 3-letter words. There's the one with the A and there's one with the H.
Well, the one with the A is 4 letters. I think Tasha's trying to say he has the
3. HIV. That's 3 letters. I know what you say 4. I'm just saying. Huh?
She's trying to say he had AIDS.
I thought she said he had the other.
I'm saying the guy said he allegedly gave him HIV.
And then Tasha's saying that he has the one with the A. Well, I already said the word, but the reality is that in 2023, that's impossible unless you're an irresponsible adult who doesn't take medication. Like there's free. You can get that medication for free.
What you mean it's impossible? You talking about to not get it?
No, to have the A word.
It's impossible to, but that's only if you're in the community and you go and get the stuff, right?
You don't have
everybody.
To be,
a straight person won't walk around on PrEP with it.
You don't have to be in the community to get medication.
Take PrEP.
But like, wait a minute. Most straight people aren't thinking to get on PrEP.
That's before you get it. But after you get it, there's medication will make you undetectable. But so literally, it's like having.
I want to talk about the allegations though, but
hold on. But let me clarify this really quick. If you take the medication, it's kind of like having the flu. Like, you know how like the flu, like it never leaves your body. This lies dormant in your body. If you're taking the medication, that's what that is for HIV or AIDS, whatever. I don't even know why I was like not saying it because you can say that. But if you take your medication, it lies dormant in your body. You're undetectable, so you can't even pass it on to anybody else.
My thing about those allegations coming out of Tasha K saying that because she was saying he had low T cells. There she is again. This is what made me upset about Tasha K. It's like she's again putting out somebody's alleged medical history where she can be sued again because she did the same thing with Cardi B. And I did not like that. And all through before she aired the interview with the young man, she was on one. She was saying he was the PPP pastor something P word. And then she said he had low T cells. And that was the part that I was hating. Like, Tasha, like, if you want me to believe anything that you're presenting, this is not the way to present it.
But a lot of heterosexual people are not educated on that. So, and that's why I say this all the time. Like, first of all, the fact that you even said PrEP to me, congratulations, because you even know that. A lot of people don't even know about PrEP. They don't. When it comes to heterosexual people, it's drilled into our heads as a gay person.
What do you think about her putting this out, though?
I think that it's wrong because even if he is that's all the way effed up. But it also makes me feel like I know that she's lying because it's not possible. Larry Reid is like, he has too much, for what I see, what I think, too much respect for himself to like just not take medication and have AIDS. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It just sounds outlandish. Like, she's really trying to trash his character, like everything about him. She's trying.
Yeah.
I disagree with that 100%. And that's why I'm not even really paying attention to the credibility of that particular person. I want to hear what the guy has to say. I want to see the receipts. She is saying that she has more receipts coming, and she has deleted stuff that, like, messages that Larry has deleted now, but they have a copy of it. I want to see this stuff. Him apologizing for doing what the dude is alleging. So I want to see that.
I thought they showed that part already on her.
Did that?
Oh,
well,
I don't know. I'm not subscribed to her. What is it?
Her web. Is it on her Patreon or is it on her actual site? Because
I'm not subscribed to nothing that Tasha K got going on. I'm not. But I'm not paying for the website or Patreon.
I'm subscribed to the live on her live.
No,
but I think that it's horrible. Again, going back to the age.
I am not a wino.
To put that out there, because that's a big shaming part for a lot of people, not just gay people, but anybody. AIDS should be a thing of the past for people at this point in 2022, 23. If you are a responsible adult, you don't have to even have a job, nothing. You can get medication for free to take to not ever get there. It'll be undetectable. You can't even pass it to anybody else. So that could be a read. Is terrible to me.
Winos are trying to say that the reason why his test was negative is because he's on PrEP, and it's just crazy. That's why I hate that she put something like that out. Because
if he has it and he's taking the medication, he's undetectable.
Right.
PrEP,
the thing is, though,
PrEP helps you from not getting it, but if you're on medication, if you do have HIV, it puts you undetectable.
And that's what the winos are saying, that he's just undetectable, but he has it. The thing is, though,
either way, it's not a Reid.
The fact that I just want to know, I just hate that stuff like that gets put out. And then this victim has not, I don't think anybody has come to Tasha K unless she's interviewed that victim as well. It's like, where is she getting this stuff from?
Because he didn't say that in the interview, did he?
It's a different victim.
I don't care who came to her and said it, whether it's a truth or it's a lie. What gives her the moral right and compass to sit up here and divulge anybody's medical status? Whether it's 3 letters taking him to the final place, or so he got a little itch scratch that he can get rid of, or if he got little sea animals crawling around down there.
Well, one thing that you said was moral right.
Tell that.
One thing you said was moral right, and she just doesn't have any of that. So
you know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. That's crazy.
A violation.
That's absolutely insane. And for me, a person who has no moral compass, there is nothing that you can ever say that I would trust you. If you lie to me about something small, you'll lie to me about the price of tea in China and World War III being started in 2023. So I can't trust you. She has no moral compass. She will go out here and say anything, and that's disgusting.
I just feel like
that's always her go-to. Like, exactly. Why is that your go-to, to make somebody have some type of disease because you don't like them?
Well, that's Tasha K's thing, though. Like, and I think
that, looking at her and the way she's smiling, drinking all that wine, one could depose that she have gingivitis. Looking at how she was walking in them heels, leaving out of court, one could feel like she has the gout.
Yes.
But I think that
you saw how she was walking in them heels, and then there was kitten heels. You can't even walk in kitten heels. You got the gout and athlete's foot on top of it. Let me get your little gold bind. One can say that about her. That doesn't make it true, and that doesn't make it right.
But no, the Armanda, then they were talking about, like, that's Tasha's go-to thing is people having STDs.
Sure, let's give her some shapewear while we're at it.
We've all watched it.
Yes. Hey, Prosperity Thick Girl, you want to weigh in on everything we talked about today?
I really want to say, please do not go get your sexual knowledge from Tasha K. Please. Not Tasha K, not a wino. Anybody that calls themselves a wino is not the source you want to go get information from, baby. And I feel like as an adult who and you're sexually active, it is your duty to know about these things, whether they market to us or not. It is your duty to know about these things because it can save your life and your partner's life. Mm-hmm. So it's our duty as people who are out here having sex, making children. You can save your life, your partner's life, and your potential child's life. Like, it's 2023. Like, are we really still ignorant to these things? It's no excuse. We shouldn't be doing it. And Tasha K putting out everybody's sexual history is ridiculous. This lady, we sat and listened to Cardi say she wanted to not be here anymore. She didn't want to be intimate with her husband. She didn't want to kiss her own children. Like, and you still doing these things? Like, it's wrong. And anybody that's sitting here listening to it and going with it and taking it and running with it, it's like you're just as ignorant as she is, and it's just wrong for you.
What are your thoughts on the allegations and everything that's happened with Larry Reid?
I don't know about these allegations like that. But for me, when it was done to me, I can tell you the room, how the apartment building looked, how the hallway looked, what was on the bed at the time. Everybody can't do that, because if you see something, you see a picture of one place, and then you are going to the place when it happened to you, and you start intertwining things, and you start putting things that didn't belong there, and then when you think about it, you remember, oh no, that wasn't that. So it's easy to get misconstrued and get things mixed up because you're trying to remember things, but then you're also adding things that you have seen along the way since it happened to you. So it's easy to get things mixed up and like we said, it depends on your mentality. It depends on your age. It depends on the state that you're in at the moment. It's a lot of factors that go into that. So because someone gets something wrong, or they feel like, yes, this is exactly what happened, that doesn't always make them not telling the truth, because they get things misconstrued.
Right.
It's different for everybody. Your process is your process, and their process is always going to be their process.
And I'll say this: if y'all are afraid to get y'all's HIV test, get them. Take the test so you know, and then when you do, get on your medication so that you are okay. Like, I mean, it's literally like not that bad.
Baby, I say go with your partner.
Yes, go with whoever you had sex with. Go and take the medication. You're good. My ex-husband did HIV prevention, so I'm always a big advocate about that, because people are so afraid to get the test. Like, I don't want to find out I have it, but you live a full life, like literally a full life. They actually came out with a shot now, only thing like every 6 months. So it's advancing right now.
Exactly. It's not medicine the rest of your life. It's not 10, 12 pills every day. It's not those things anymore. It's not, don't have to be skinny. You don't have to look this way. It's a lot of things that they have got going now. It's 2023, people. It's not 1990.
So you can't just look at somebody and say, you look like you own such and such no more.
Nope.
You can't.
You shouldn't.
That's what she said.
We getting out. They're getting their bodies done now too.
Tasha K said that. She said, look at him and tell that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I can look at him and tell he wear eyeliner.
Exactly. And it look like he wear eyelashes. I swear to do.
But I mean, that's it. I can't look at him and say, oh, he got that ish. You know what I'm saying? I can't, but I can tell you he wear eyeliner.
You look like he go to the gym for me.
It's not, and I can tell you it's cheap eyeliner, because after so long when the video start running.
Yep, and the mascara.
I can tell you that. Especially the mascara be running all the time.
Child, I'd be like, baby, go fix your face.
But I can tell you that. I can't tell you the medical history from looking at it, because you know what? You can have a person who has the thyroid problem that instead of making them fat, it make them dried out and skinny. You know what I'm saying? All the time. You know, people there's way more things that complicate your health in this world besides sexually transmitted diseases that will give you a dried out look, that will give you a tired look. Me personally, I just think he don't drink enough water and he don't use no coconut oil up on that skin. I mean, he just look dry and ashy to me. That's what he looked like. He don't look, his melanin ain't popping, and that's about it. And that's probably because he's not using the right products to cultivate that skin to have a glow.
No shea butter.
You know, I mean, that's all I feel. You know, go ahead, get your little black soap, cleanse your skin. You know, put some good watermelon in your skin, some good water. Have your water soaking with your lemons and your kiwi or whatever you want to put in there. You know what I'm saying? Moisturize real good, and he'll be all right. And stop buying cheap makeup.
Yeah,
I would have never known any of this.
But you can't never. But I'm saying you can't look at somebody and say they sickly.
Yeah.
Because you can look at somebody and be like, "Oh, they got that shit," and the person could have diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And then
or high blood pressure.
I'm so old fashioned. I don't like saying what people look like they have, because you don't want to speak it on them either.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Well, I'm sorry for speaking eczema on the man, but he do be looking dry.
You paying attention to that.
Eczema and impetigo. Both of those.
He's a very interesting person. I feel like a lot of what he's done is catching up with him. I know Jamal Bryant is allegedly one of the people that he thinks is behind a lot of this stuff going out.
Really?
What? Not Pastor Sling the dick.
Jamal Bryant.
Pastor Coochie Pop.
What does Jamal Bryant do with
Jamal Bryant and what's his name? The Bishop such and such in New York.
Lamore.
They are funding Levantre.
Mm-hmm.
But why does Jamal?
And Kurt Franklin gonna be up in the next if they keep on. They tell everybody.
Wait, why is Jamal Brown involved with this?
Because it's not just they're saying it's a lot of pastors because Larry's channel is about exposing this type of stuff.
Oh yes.
And so that's
but there was a messier content creator before Larry Reid though. Y'all know who he is?
Larry Reid is bigger though. You talking about that Kojic guy?
Larry Reid got bigger after
guy?
that. No, Larry Reid got bigger after that. What was that guy's name?
The guy that wear the hats.
And he's Kojic. And
the light skin guy with the perm or something like that.
Oh, yeah. You talking about Mother Caldwell?
Caldwell. No, not Caldwell.
No, it's the other one.
I think his name is Caldwell.
No, that's a different one.
You talking about Andrew?
No. It's the one that got all the makeup. He got a deep, kind of a raspy voice.
And he had a blog, and they were getting his blog shut down.
Yes.
Let's see.
But they never went after him.
I can't think of his name.
They did go after him because he don't have a YouTube channel.
He don't have YouTube no more.
He has a Facebook page.
Yeah, I saw him on something today.
You can do a lot of things on Facebook that you can't do on YouTube.
Yeah, he don't have.
What was his name?
What is his name?
Somebody got to know.
What is his name? I see him now. I don't know if this is his channel. You talking about him?
Him, yeah, that's him.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
You know him?
Why he look like the dude from
Jeepers
from Fat Albert?
What was that guy's name? He
William
was McCray.
That's
like a bad perm.
Because it's William McCray.
William McCray, yes.
That's who that's
him.
Wait.
That's him.
When was that picture taken?
That's
he wasn't that dark.
He looks bad now, but he's supposed to be our age and everything. That's him.
William McCray was before Larry Reid.
Yeah, but they a lot of people went after him because of the stuff that he was exposing. No, I'm missing something.
William McCray went after me and my ex-husband.
What?
Yes, we did a whole radio interview because of William McCray. And then he was trying to talk to my ex-husband while we were married.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he looks like he's in his 60s, but he claims he's our age.
He really is our age.
Not look at that old.
Listen, that's bad karma.
Yeah.
Some of these
good. I ain't gonna talk about nobody.
If y'all look up the Ohio Gay Church in Cincinnati, it will pull us up.
What?
From William McCray.
My phone just died.
I became a fan of Larry's channel because of it. I think churches do need to be outed with their malfeasance. So I'm a fan of that. I like it. The ones that are.
But let's talk about why Tasha K is doing this though. For me,
but we know why she's doing it
because I feel like Tasha is really doing this because Tasha is hating on Larry Reid, and if Larry Reid wasn't like accelerating in his career, she would never be doing this. And that doesn't take away what Larry Reid did or he did not do for the situation with this boy or any of the other boys he did it with. But Tasha K's motive is very different.
Yeah, you cannot cross her, I guess. She takes it personal to where she tries to destroy you once you do that. And that's just who she is.
I just hate that she's like that because it's like apparently she had a really great channel and people loved her. I mean, she hit 1 million subscribers, so she must have been doing something right. But like, why tear down somebody because?
Well, from what I gather, because I was watching her channel, when it seems like it started around the time Larry Reid and Bishop Lamar Whitehead got into it. Bishop Lamar Whitehead came with the allegations about Larry Reid, and Tasha slowly started to back away. Now, Larry is saying she's going after him because of what happened to Nola? Because of okay. Larry said Tasha's going after him because she I see the message. Okay.
It was called the Good Life Church.
But because of a deal that they had with some type of show or production or something like that, Larry backed out of it. He claimed his lawyer at the time, which they're saying Tasha said allegedly was Phaedra Parks, advised him not to go into business with Tasha K because she's a liar. She just lost that case with Cardi B, so don't do it. So Larry is saying that's why Tasha got mad. Tasha is saying she's had been backing off from him because she was starting to hear these allegations.
But she hadn't though, and it shows on YouTube that it's not true. Even Armand proved that wasn't true.
They had just made up.
Yeah, Armand proved that wasn't true.
It's just the drama of YouTube. It's literally you in a relationship. You become friends with somebody, then you start beefing with somebody else, and then your friends start being friends or going on to show other person. That causes rifts. It's almost very territorial in these crazy YouTube streets, but y'all try to stay out of the drama. You can't talk to somebody because I don't like them. So it seems like she got upset with him for talking to people that she didn't like. That seemed to have.
Well, why she ain't go out to Phaedra? If Phaedra is the person that said it, she know to leave lawyers alone.
I don't think she give a crap. She's a narcissist woman.
I was gonna say I don't think they were ever friends. I think this was the next big thing to grow her channel, to be completely honest. Because she wasn't so hot after the whole Cardi B stuff. Her channel and her credibility took a blow.
She had to pivot.
A big blow.
Yeah, and so bringing this out, and Larry Reid is somewhat known in both sectors. The tea sector, celebrity sector, and also church sector. This would help, and exposing him would bring her credibility back for her. Basically.
And it's smart. She's smart. Listen, she got an app now. $12. Is it $12? I wonder how much it is. It's a $12 time, just 100,000.
You don't know
of her million. I don't know. I just got on there so I can see that video. Let's say it's 100,000. That's $1.2 million a month right there. She's very smart. I think she's a very smart businesswoman.
Well, she need to get that lady her money since she got 1.2 million every month.
You know, rich people they try to hold on to every bit. Like they don't want to pay. Rich folk don't like to pay taxes. Rich people don't want to pay no settlement. If she can avoid it, she will, and that's what a rich person would do. If you can avoid it, you will. And legally, if she can get around it and keep putting it off, that's what she's gonna do. Nobody's trying to fork out no $4 million or $3 million, even though she's dead wrong.
Right.
But ain't nobody told them be calling me without messaging me first. I could have answered that. Calling me. I just feel like how does that bring her credibility back? Because like Lamb just said, because I can't think of this other name today. This is new to me. I'm used to the other name. If you making 1.2 million a month, right, plus all the money that you had gotten from when the people was trying to get the GoFundMe, why are you talking about I ain't got it? You know what I'm saying? Right. Why are you still talking about I ain't got it?
That's a legal strategy. It's a legal and marketing strategy. Of course, she's gonna play with it. She's gonna play with it for her audience. And ain't nobody trying to give up no $4 million even if you got it. You know
what that song say?
But you can't keep making money in the court and saying you ain't got it. That don't make sense.
You got the right lawyers, you can.
Well, we know she didn't have the right lawyers. That's why she.
But at this point, when are you gonna stop the antics and be grown? Like to
they
me, if you want to be respected in this industry, in the journalism industry, then you have to be credible. And your credibility can't keep being shot. Like the fact of the matter is, girl, it's already the rumors already swirling about you allegedly that the feds is looking for you for paying off that security guard for the tape of the Aura Kelly conversations. Like you have been proven over and over and over and over and over again to be a liar, a schemer, and a scammer.
And those 3 letters that you don't want coming looking for, you're looking for. The I, the R, and the S.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's already being put out there about you. It's already being put out there about you, how you lie, how you do stuff, how you take advantage of people. You told us you would move to Africa. Girl, if you move to Africa, why is you back in the States?
Right. She sure
ain't went back to Georgia yet, though.
They don't want you either.
So yeah, who knows what her true motive is, but she just seems so vindictive. Whatever I don't know what happened between her and Larry, but it seems like she's just one of those people that did not get over whatever happened, and she is. Oh, you eating my grapes, so there, the grapes that you promised me. No.
But Nola, you know what I'm drinking.
I know, and I'm mad I don't have one.
But she excuse me, she is very vindictive, and it's just messy all over. I hate that this was brought to YouTube because this boy his story now, people are scrutinizing like all the victims and wanting to come be Captain Saberholt for Larry Reid. But I really feel like Larry Reid, it's up to him to prove his innocence.
Well, because look at the motive. Like, why did you go to Tasha K?
Yeah.
That's why people don't have any credibility for him.
Bishop, I think he went to Bishop Lamar. Well, actually, no, he went to Daryl Moore first. This came out in 2019 with Daryl Moore. And then when I'm thinking when Bishop Lamar Whitehead got upset with Larry Reid, he probably searched that old stuff and went looking for it.
That's what happened.
She said she had dual citizenship. Oh, okay.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it, and I don't even want to see no paperwork that she'll produce because she probably stopped off in New York somewhere to get some fake papers because I know you could get some made out there somewhere.
Yeah, because according to Storm, she got a person that work at the bank that can approve your loans, and she got a lot of connections, it seems. It's very interesting. But any final thoughts? I guess we can go ahead and end it here, unless y'all want to stay on talking more about it.
Oh crap!
Oh, Lamar just joined us.
You just showed us you.
I was alive. I just want people to think about all aspects of what's happening here. I mean, again, like the guy went to Tasha K, said the police. I want people to understand that, you know, when it comes to church stuff, the predator part comes from the leadership and the congregation. And that's not me defending Larry Reid, because I don't know Larry Reid at all. I have no dealings with him. I've never talked to Larry Reid. I've never met Larry Reid. But the predator part comes from both sides when it comes to church. So for me, I just feel like go to court and figure it out. Give us the facts and give the court the facts and deal with it.
My final thoughts are I just want to see it play out. Let's see what happens. That's all I got.
My final thoughts is please do not go to Tasha K for your sexual information.
Ever again.
Your HIPAA information or anything like that. Right. And I don't know what's going on. I guess if it's proven to be factual, a case will come. And if it's not, it won't. Or if the person who this is about doesn't want to pursue it, it won't be pursued.
Right.
No Reids.
Oh, child, I'ma say all these people be lying. So until they make it to court in a court case, save your judgment because you don't want to be out here looking stupid, capping real hard on either side. Whichever side of the spectrum, the pendulum you fall on, you don't want to be looking real stupid and they have you out here looking like a fool. So I would say reserve your judgment until you find out the truth because everybody on here lies.
Right. I 100% agree with everybody on the panel. I want to thank y'all for joining me. My thoughts on the case, I definitely want to see it go to court. I just want people to stop scrutinizing the victims. I hope it isn't true. I hope he didn't harm these boys. That would be the best scenario. But we have to wait and see. So thank y'all for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. So Debonair, Lamb
Levis.
Make
sure I hit all on the notification button on her channel.
Yeah, Nola Reeds. And let me take Chris's comment down. And Prosperity Thick Girl 40. So I think, all of us use our names for our channel. So you can search all of their names to find it. And let me read Chris's comment real quick. He said, my final thought, Larry is a liar and a snake. So we're going to end it on that.
And catch us on Wednesday.
Catch us on Wednesday. Champagne and things. That's all.
And please catch the All Rise Court on Thursday night on Nola Reed's channel.
I'm calling it the Queen's Court. What is it called?
All Rise.
Not the Queen's
The Messy
Court.
Night Court.
Night Court. I enjoyed watching it this past Thursday. I enjoyed all your shows on Thursday, Nola. I was like, damn, she is really going.
So, and she told me that the other day too, Nola, by the way.
Listen, because that's my off day, so I'm able to do more like on my off days. So I try to let me go ahead and do what I got to do on this off day and get the people what they be looking for. But child, oof.
Yes, well, I caught it all on that
Y'all
day.
follow Lamar on all his 3,000 channels that he has.
All Lamar.
Yes,
I finally caught Lamar on a live the other day.
That's not Lamar. That's Lamb.
Yeah, yeah.
Lamb's Levity. I think that's
this channel. That's a different channel. He has like a.
I know what I'm saying. This is Lamb tonight.
But no, I called him on a live the other day, and I enjoyed the entire time.
You saying you what the entire? You enjoyed it?
Yeah, when I came to your live the other day, I said that my first time. I was like, I enjoyed it.
Appreciate it.
Because I was so confused. Who's Lamb Levity?
I love the real estate insider. I love looking at people's houses.
I like his channel too. Real estate insider. That dude, his channel is amazing.
Yeah, that channel is amazing. And they give away gift prizes.
He give away money every show.
Let's help Prosperity Thick Girl get to 1,000 subs. She's very close. So that's another channel I watch. Make sure you guys subscribe. Any other final last teeny weeny thoughts before I click that in live button?
Don't wear kitten heels and walk like you got the gout.
Wait, what did you just have up, Candy?
What?
And wear shapewear as well, because her fupa is fupa.
Wait, what you have in your hand?
Cheetos.
Oh, okay.
What did you think it was?
I thought this was a good shot. I was like,
no.
I want to say, go check out. There's another YouTuber too. I think his name is Master Prophet Levi T or something like that.
What? That's Lamar.
You know what? Since she's talking about that, there is another one called Being So Debonair too. Subscribe to that channel.
Can we get links for all of these channels so we can go subscribe?
Yes, I'm gonna try to put them in the description.
This is a Master Prophet. He talk about all this stuff. I think he talked very candid about this situation.
He did. I watched him. He had people coming for him in some comments too. Yes, I think in Wiley's comments.
Yes, he did.
But yes,
but I definitely enjoy this conversation. I think that we did come through like I thought was going to happen with 3 different perspectives of what this looks like, and I think that that's very important when it comes down to these tough conversations. So thank you to Candy Shop for even doing this.
Yeah, big time.
You did a good job.
Oh,
you really did. Great show.
Excellent.
And it was all up in my recommendations. Every time I went to a page, you were in there. So you're in mine.
Oh,
you're in my algorithm.
I was hesitant, but I'm glad I came on.
I know.
I was too.
Well, let's save these.
Thank you, Andrea.
Let me go ahead and I'm gonna play my little song, and then we will be out.
All right.
Thank you, Andrea.
But I want to welcome everybody to my channel, the